in a Chicago cafe. The chefs are the best and the menus are so gourmet. The best cuisine on the scene is in Chicagoland, USA. Great chefs of Chicago. Great chefs of Chicago. World-class cooking, continental style. The recipe will make you linger a little while. Great chefs of Chicago.
Welcome to Great Chefs of Chicago, a television masterclass with chefs of some of the finest restaurants in the Chicago metropolitan area. This time, Les Vichyssois and chef owner Bernard Chrétier. Originally from Vichy, France, noted for its sparkling mineral water, Chef Chrétier began apprenticeship at age 15 with the renowned Troisgros brothers, and later worked with the equally famed Paul Bocuse. In the Army, he cooked for the French Secretary of State, afterwards working in France, Germany, and Switzerland. In 1970, after 3 years at Maxime's in Paris, he was transferred by the restaurant to its Chicago counterpart. Dreaming of independence, Chef Chrétier sought an affordable location for his own operation, and in 1976 opened Le Vichyssois in Lakemore, about 50 miles northwest of the city. Halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee, the restaurant attracts diners from both cities, as well as food writers who acknowledge that it's well worth the drive.
Processing the salmon right now till it's nice and puree. Add a little salt and pepper.
A salmon mousse is begun with 6 ounces of pureed salmon fillet.
Take a few minutes. Now the eggs. It's blend together, then the cream.
1 egg and 12 ounces of whipping cream are added. After processing, the mousse is refrigerated for 1 hour.
Okay, I'm going to open it so make sure everything gets mixed well. Fine, it's done. Put it in my bowl and keep it in the refrigerator until I need it. As you can see, it did not take very long to do. Nice pink color. Make sure that the bowl of your robot courte or cuisinard is quite cold. Now we're going to do the mousse for the terrine de poisson. There I need 14 ounces of pike. Better choose a larger pike, there is more albumin in it. Put right inside.
14 ounces of walleye pike are pureed.
Same thing as for the salmon until it's nice puree. Meantime, I can break the eggs. Same thing again, salt, pepper. My eggs.
An equal proportion of brook trout or peeled deveined shrimp may substitute for pike.
Go around, make sure the fish is processed. Then I'm going to add the cream.
The pike puree, 3 eggs, and 28 ounces of whipping cream comprise a seafood mousse that will be baked along with some of the salmon mousse.
Same as for the salmon, go around, make sure everything's going to be mixed well. Taste it. A little more salt, more pepper. Here we go. Pour it in the bowl. As you can see, it's quite soft and liquid. I need to probably have too much, but it's better to have more than not enough.
Fresh parsley is chopped and will be added to the seafood mousse.
Here we go. Everything together. Mix it. As you can see, the mousse is very, very soft. Okay, that's a pike.
2 ounces each of pike, salmon, and shrimp are diced and are added to the mousse for texture.
Bone. Now the salmon. This is a Norwegian salmon. Same thing as for the pike. Here we go. Give a nice color to the pâté. I forgot a piece of pike to add to it. Then I'm going to have my nice fresh Florida shrimp. Okay, now I mix everything together. Okay, we are going to butter the dish where the terrine is going to cook. You have to make sure it's well buttered, otherwise it's going to stick. Okay, now I'm going to pour half of the pâté, the mousse, and in the terrine. Then I'm going to take the mousse, the salmon mousse. I'm going to put some right in the middle. Draw a line. Okay, put this back in the refrigerator, stay nice and cold. Then I fill the rest of the terrine. To make nice and flat. Take a towel, I'm going to tap it so there is no air. Clean the side. Put my wax paper right on the top. Let's put a little bit here so it stick well. Put my aluminum foil right on the top. Close it nice and tight. Then I'm going to put in the dish with hot water. I'm going to stick it in the oven for about an hour and 15 minutes, and we'll shake it at 375 degrees. Here we go. One thing's done. Cut the garlic in about 3. So we start over with the onion.
Onion is chopped for a simple basil sauce. It is sautéed with garlic and basil in olive oil until tender. 24 ounces of tomato juice will later be added.
Right in my olive oil with the garlic. We'll add my basil. Little whip. And then to let it cook slowly. Take about 5 minutes. Okay, so the onions are done, so I'm going to pour the tomato juice right on top. Add a little salt and pepper. Then bring it to a boil, and from there we're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Take the pepper off.
Just before service, the garlic pieces are removed from the sauce and 2 tablespoons chopped parsley are added. The pâté is then carefully unmolded.
Make sure it does not stick on the side. Take this, go around, come right off. Here we go. You can see it's like a jello pudding. As I say, you have to be very careful to cook that. You only can cut it with an electrical knife. So slowly. Go with your spatula. And here we go. Then I take my sauce. I'm going to pour the sauce around.
Two pounds of budget-busting Norwegian salmon are skinned and trimmed.
To remove this. This can be used for the pâté.
The tiny bones are painstakingly removed with tweezers.
Need about 4 ounces. It's about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I need another plate. I'm going to open the salmon like a pocket. So I go sideways on one side, turn the salmon, go on the other side. Here we go.
Note the precise way the fillets are butterflied. The first cut is at a fairly steep angle. The second is almost straight across.
Now I'm going to stuff the fish with the mousse. Go with a spoon.
The salmon mousse made earlier fills the pockets of the fillets. The flaps are closed and the packets rest in the refrigerator for 10 minutes. Chef Chrétien brushes the edges of 5 by 7-inch sheets of puff pastry with beaten egg.
Okay, take the salmon delicately, put it on the dough. Okay, move it a little more. Here we go. Cut the edge, make it nicely. Then I'm going to pinch it.
The pastry is painted with egg wash and the packets returned to the refrigerator for 10 minutes before baking.
I think because we stop for a while and the salmon is nice and cold and the dough is nice and cold, we can cook it right away. We don't have to stop late. When when you are ready to cook it, you always put the salmon that way because this side takes the longest to cook. And I put it in the oven here at 425 degrees, and it's going to be there for about 20 minutes. To have the bone, I take a piece from the salmon, the bone that I'm going to chop up. Going to combine everything together. Then I'm going to take a nice dry champagne.
Champagne sauce is started with a half-bottle dry champagne, 4 to 5 ounces salmon bones, and chopped shallots. The liquid is reduced about 20 minutes to a glaze.
About 3/4 of the bottle. Then I have the bone from the pie that I'm going to add to that. And I'm going to put on the fire and reduce it till there is nothing in the pan. Here we go, it's boiling now.
24 ounces of whipping cream are added to the reduction.
Okay, now after it's reduced, I'm adding the cream. Mixing. Then it's going to go back on the fire. By doing that, I'm making sure that all the sucre are being dissolved by the cream. Okay, and back on the fire. Okay.
When the desired thickness is achieved, the sauce is strained and kept warm until presentation.
Okay. Sorry. Here we go. The cake, I'm going to mix the flour, the sugar, and the eggs.
The chocolate tart begins with 1 2/3 ounces flour, 5 ounces sugar, and 3 eggs. An inexpensive food scale makes short order of these unwieldy measurements.
Until it's nice and creamy. Okay, meantime, I have the chocolate here that I put in a double boiler, melt it. And to the chocolate, I'm going to add the butter.
3 1/3 ounces butter are blended into an equal amount of melted orange chocolate. If orange chocolate is unavailable, semi-sweet may be substituted. The speed of the mixer is increased and the mixture is beaten for 3 minutes. On low speed, the chocolate mixture is added to the batter.
Okay, now make sure that the side of the bowl well mixed.
An 8-inch baking pan is prepared with butter and flour.
Okay. These go in.
The cake is baked for 20 minutes at 375 degrees.
Okay, I put the cranberry in a pot. To that, I'm going to add the sugar, half a cup of water, the orange. Okay, here I have some left over. Now the orange juice.
The accompanying cranberry sauce is made with 1 cup orange juice, 1/2 cup water, 6 ounces fresh cranberries, 1/2 cup sugar, and orange zest.
I'm going to bring that to a boil for and let it cook for about 20 minutes. The cake should be ready by now. Let's see. Yeah, it seems to be. Just stick the knife inside. If the blade come out clean, you can see it's nice, clean, no moisture, so the cake is clean. The cranberry, as you can see, are nicely cooked. It's nice syrupy. Put it right inside. Okay. Pushing so you can get the most out of it.
The cranberry sauce is refrigerated before service. A frosting begins with whipping cream brought to the boil and melted bittersweet and orange chocolate to which some butter has been added. After the cream is incorporated, the icing must stand until completely cool.
Okay, go with a knife around, making sure nothing sticks. Take the plate, turn around. If the frosting is too hot, you can put it on ice. You know, it happened that we need to do the frosting. Did it at the last minute, it's too hot. So we are going to cool it off on ice with a little water and
Here's a good demonstration of what can happen if you try to rush the cooling process, as the chef did in the interest of time. Note the
Mary, give me
difference.
the
Both
sugar.
components have now cooled sufficiently and the cake is successfully frosted a second time. Like a chocolate truffle, the cake is dusted with cocoa powder.
It's almost like the frosting is like truffle color, little powdered sugar.
Chef Chrétien recommends Puy-sur-Loire with the seafood pâté, Chablis Premier Cru with the salmon and puff pastry, and Krug Brut Champagne with dessert.
And now dinner is served. Join us next time for more cooking excitement. This menu compliments of Les Vichyssois and Bernard Chrétien, another great chef of Chicago.
You'll always find them in Chicagoland. You'll learn all their tricks. You'll understand why eating is kicks in Chicagoland. Come wine and dine where love began. Great chef, great food, great wine in Chicagoland. Yeah, Chicagoland.